Hi, good morning, everyone, and thank you, Amanda. Before I make the introduction, I'd like to say something about the process that ultimately brought us here this morning. Since the end of the season, I was privileged to interview numerous candidates to fill our head coaching vacancy. Uh, to a man, they were first class, they had a high character, and they can coach. And I expect them all to be NFL coaches, head coaches in the future. In the meantime, I wish each of them the very best. And I want to thank them for the time and commitment they took to talk to me and share their thoughts with me. But from this remarkable, talented pool of candidates, one man clearly separated himself from the field. And as I said yesterday, he's a winner, a leader, and a champion. He's the man we want and need in Jacksonville. And as you'll see shortly, he wants the challenge. He's ready. So without further delay, it's my privilege to introduce the new head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Urban Meyer.
Well, thanks, Shad. I would first like to thank Shad Khan for this opportunity to lead the organization into 2021 and beyond. Like I said yesterday, I felt like this was not only the right time for me to return to coaching, but the right place in Jacksonville as well. Duval is a very special place to me. And I'm excited to be back in the great state of Florida. The work has begun to get this team where it needs to be, and my primary focus as we speak is to put together a great staff. I've been very supported by some incredible coaches throughout the years, and I expect to do the same here in Jacksonville. These fans, especially our loyal season ticket holders, deserve a winner, and I can speak on behalf of myself, my staff, and eventually our team. They will get our very best. Thanks again.
Thank you, Coach. We appreciate it. All right, we're going to go ahead and begin with questions. We'll start with Gene Fournette of the Florida Times-Union. Gene, if you want to unmute yourself.
Okay.
There you go.
Can you hear me?
We can. Go ahead.
Urban, congratulations, by the way. Jimmy Johnson said that, he's obviously the prime example of a guy who's made the jump successfully from college to the pros. What, if anything, did you learn in your conversations in terms that would benefit you from your talking with him? And is there any particular tip that he gave you that may have, you weren't expecting and you found beneficial?
Jimmy Johnson has become a very good friend over the years in our time at Fox together. He was a guy that I leaned on very heavily during the television for the last 2 years. But then I had a few phone calls with him recently. He will be a resource for me. He will be a guy that I'll speak to quite frequently. And I think there is a perception out there. He told me that you have to be much different than you are in college, than you have to be in professional football. But he made clear that players want to win. And players, they want to win. They understand their value, their brand, and their lifestyle improves if you win. And they want to be around winners. So I'm very enthusiastic after speaking with him. I've also spoke to several of my very close friends in the head coach that are head coaches in the NFL, but Jimmy Johnson was fantastic, and he'll be a guy I lean on quite frequently.
One quick follow-up, if I may. How much did the opportunity to have the number one draft pick play into your wanting this job?
Huge. I think Shad and the organization is positioned, and it's not by accident. Shad got very involved in the entire roster, et cetera, and I think it's primed. It's primed to put together a good team. I think, Gene, we know each other, and people know me that I am not going to jump into a situation where I don't believe we can win. I won't do that. And I think everything is here in play. Now we got to do it. First of all, I have to get a great staff, not a good staff, a great staff. And when people are recommending, I've had multitude of people calling, and my comment is save the a recommendation unless that you feel that person is elite in all areas, because that's what Jacksonville deserves, and that's what we're going to have on our staff. So, but the players and putting together a team that, they want to win. I know that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gene. We're going to go over to Mark Long with the Associated Press.
Hi, Urban. Welcome back. Obviously, your health has been an issue for some years. What makes you confident that it won't be an issue this time around, and you're going to be in a position to maybe lose more games than you ever lost in a single season? How are you going to be able to handle that?
Well, if you're asking me if I'm going to enjoy losing, I think we all know the answer to that. I'm older. I've something I'm going to be very conscientious of. It's something I'm going to watch very closely. I will be in the head coach, but I'm going to hire great coaches that are going to be expected to do their job. I'm not going to be running around like a nut on the practice field, and those days are gone. I'm certainly going to. I know what it's supposed to look like, and I want to be very demanding of everyone. But it's something I'm going to watch very closely. But it's something that, I had that surgery in 2014 that really helped things. But it's just something I'm going to watch very closely.
And then you made it pretty clear last night that this needed to be a perfect situation, and you've touched on it already, shot and the picks. But what else makes this perfect for you right now, right here?
I think you said it first. Shad Khan is a person we spent incredible amount of time together. I first met Shad back in the Super Bowl. He's an Illinois grad, so we kind of gave each other a hard time about the Big Ten. But something I started last year, I interviewed a bunch of our players. Former players that are in the NFL or recently out, and I took notes. I was just intrigued, why does this organization win? Why does this not, or do they fail to win? And it was the research was very strong. It was something I was not surprised at the results, because players will tell you, the players know. Sometimes you talk to coaches, and I'm not sure they all know. I don't know. But players are the one that play the game. And I really value the guys that I have in the NFL. And we spent, hours upon hours I did work on this. And I spoke to Shad about that. And that was our conversation at the we really had a nice conversation at the Super Bowl a year ago. I believe it was in Miami. And then we just recently had a very in-depth conversation for many, many hours.
All right, thank you. We're going to go over to Mike Duraco with ESPN.
Welcome back, Urban, as Mark said. How do you think you're going to have to change your approach, if any way, from the way that you coached at Ohio State, Florida, to dealing with professional athletes at this point?
Mike,
Is there any way that you will?
Mike, you got the same issue I did. You get a little gray there, man.
I know.
How's that happen?
Well, you were only been gone, 1 or 2 years, so I think it who knows what happened. I don't know.
Well, at Florida, from Florida to Ohio State, I changed dramatically. Like a lot of former players, from Bowling Green to Utah. The times are changing. College football is different, Mike. You know that. It's the days of coaching the way you did back when I was at Bowling Green or when I was an assistant coach. The whole country's changed. Everything's changed. And so you have to adapt. And those who adapt have success. Those who don't fail. And certainly have my failures along the journey. But for the most part, I can't wait. That's the part of the game that I love, is to be able to adapt to the NFL player. And we've had no shortage of them the last 12 years or wherever it's been. But it is. You're talking about grown men. You're talking about this is a business. You have a job to do. And I always looked at the college environment as an opportunity to, not that we're not going to do it in the NFL, but you're dealing with 17, 18, 19-year-olds that are leaving home for the first time. And you're also dealing with an academic environment. So just a much different environment. However, between white lines, I don't see a lot of difference. I've studied the NFL game now for really years, but really studied it for the first time in my life for the last 6 months.
What, if anything, do you think will be maybe the most interesting or toughest part of the transition for you that you're looking forward to at least tackling at some point?
Winning. You're in a league that is designed to be 500. You're talking about, Coach Belichick, one of my great friends and a person I've always admired, he's the best of all time. And, you're talking about a 60-some% winning percentage. You're talking about the league is built to be 500. And I coached at Utah where we were picked to lose most of our games. I coached at Bowling Green where we're picked to lose most of our games. And then Florida and Ohio State, you're picked to win most of the games. So that's the biggest challenge, is looking across the field and saying they got what you got, or sometimes they got more than you got.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. All right, let's go over to Hayes Carlon with 1010XL.
Thank you, Amanda. Shad, what does this day mean for you as an owner? Is this one of your most triumphant moments, in your opinion? And can you enlighten us a little bit, with Urban now in place, how the roster control is going to go?
Well, I think, Hayes, I think this was definitely what I'd shared, I think, with you and some of the other people about a week and a half ago, that it is an inflection point for the Jaguars. A lot of things have happened which really put us in a position really to win, and the choice of the head coach was probably the most important thing. So, and I'm really gratified and I'm delighted, obviously, that Urban's on board. I think but moving forward, I think the issue of roster control, it's more technical or symbolic. My whole aspect, and this started really about 15 months ago, that we need to be a coach-centric team and an organization where the head coach really has to lead the kind of players he wants, the kind of team we need to be, and the general manager, myself, we have to support that vision. And somehow, some way, that had been lost. And the idea here is really more about transparency, collaboration, teamwork, and accountability. So I think, this would lead to the natural question. I mean, I've talked to Urban about, our general manager, who it ought to be, and and we're working together on it. I hope, we'll have an announcement or something in the next week or so. But the object is going to be that, and I'd shared this with Urban. He's on board. Both of them, will be reporting to me, but everybody in the organization, I mean, we're going to be, carrying out, obviously, Urban's vision of the team and the kind of players we want.
Great. And then Urban, for you, congratulations first off. Can you talk a little bit about where you see your philosophy going for fans that maybe don't remember you coaching the Gators, that 4 to 6, point A to B? Can you give fans a little idea of your basic coaching philosophy, please?
Very good. 4 to 6, A to B. My vision of my dream has always been the fastest team on the field and the team that plays. When I say fastest, not necessarily 40 time fast, but fast. One of the great compliments I can remember we ever had was the legendary coach John Robinson. He's coaching at UNLV and I was at Utah. And we walk out to the 50-yard line. He looks at me and he said, "That's the fastest team I've ever coached against." And I'm thinking, we only have maybe one guy that runs sub 4.5. So. But then you watch the film, they play fast. And the reason you play fast, the 4 to 6 is, I want a team that plays fearless. And that's our coaches, that's, first of it falls on the coaching staff. One way to take a great player and slow him down is be too complicated. And that won't, I can assure you that will not happen. And if it will, I'll step in. So 4 to 6 that's the length of a play. The only demand that I will have is you give everything you got for if you make a mistake, we have to coach you through that. And that's on the coaching staff. And point A to point B is there's a starting point A and a finish point B, and that's easy to evaluate on film. Between A to B, it better be is everything you got, and that's going to be the expectation of our organization. So other than that, will we run or throw it? I think the history. It's a very adaptable. If you have a Dwayne Haskins at quarterback that you can throw it 50 times a game, we're going to do what's best. If you happen to have Zeke Elliott at tailback, we happen to run the ball more then. So it's going to be built. There's not a set system yet, and that'll certainly be impacted by the coordinator as we play. So that's my vision, is when you grab a seat in this beautiful stadium, is you're going to see a team play really fast.
Awesome. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Mark No with Action News.
Welcome aboard, Urban. Thanks for the time. I wonder if you can, from your seat in the hectic week that it's been, can you grasp the buzz in Jacksonville about the hire, about the number one overall pick? There's been a buzz the last couple of weeks, but I think season ticket phone calls are probably ringing a little bit more over the last couple of days. From your seat, do you feel that?
I do. I've spent a lot of time down here, obviously, and then I spent a lot of time in Jacksonville recruiting friends. You know, my kids were athletes growing up at the time, so I remember driving to Jacksonville, I don't know, 10 times a year for whatever events. And so we have great friends here, and, you know, I kind of feel it through them. I have 479 messages I'm trying to get back to, but it's been fantastic, and, you know, I can't wait to do the very best for this incredible place.
And obviously the Jaguars do have the number one overall pick. What are your thoughts on this upcoming quarterback class? And is there a separation in that quarterback class with the top overall guy?
You see Trevor, you see Justin, you see Zach, you see, you know, that this is going to be, you know, as Shad said, this is a monumental moment for this franchise. And we've seen some franchises explode, and we've seen others fail. And I've said this many times, you know, throughout my career, is that when the NFL says it's a quarterback league, you know, I would say, well, so is college, and so is high school, so is Pop Warner. It's a quarterback sport. So whoever takes that snap, we have got to be right on. And I think Shad said it best, that this is going to be the term that you're going to hear throughout our time at Jacksonville is a partnership. And there's going to be as complete transparency. That's the way I've always operated. And the GM that we hire is going to be complete, and to our owner, he is invested in an organization. And I'm telling you now, the reason I'm standing behind his mic, he wants to win. He wants to win not for himself. He wants to win for Jacksonville. And who we pick at that quarterback spot, that's going to be one of the most important decisions I've made in my lifetime. And along with the partnership of our owner and our general manager, and the ones that are out there, my initial study, because I have been studying a lot, I like to use the term elite. I see some elite quarterbacks out there right now.
Good luck.
Thank you, Brent. Let's go over to Bill Rabinowitz with the Columbus Dispatch.
Hi, Urban. First of all, congratulations. I have two questions. First, a lot of people here in Columbus are wondering if some of your core people you had at Ohio State will be joining you. I've been told Mickey isn't, but can you address whether others will, such as Mark Pantoni and Ryan Stamper?
Yeah, I talked to Gene and I talked to Coach Day, and Bill, you know my affection for both those guys and the great university that we represented, and I won't do that. Does that mean there might be one? Maybe. You know, I'm not there yet, but you know, I told Gene, I said, yeah, Coach Marati, Pantoni, the whole crew's leaving, and they're like, what? You know, that's the best infrastructure in college sports. So, no, they will not. You know, they will not be leaving. I'm not touching. You know, there might be one. I said that will leave, but I am not going to do that to that organization, and I'm not sure they would go. It's Ohio State is home to those guys now.
And also, well, the last time we talked at length about the possibility of you coaching, you said essentially never say never, but I think I'm done. When did that change and why?
Well, some college opportunities showed up, and it made you start thinking. You know, there's not a day. I'm sure that every person, Bob Stoops is my dear friend. There's not a day that goes by that you just, you know, you see that grass, you see the team, you see a locker room, and you think, and then you start thinking about, you know, quality of life, et cetera. And the comment I made, it would have to be perfect. And I don't plan on, you know, college, I just don't plan on doing it. I don't see that happening. NFL has always been an intrigue. I had some opportunities in the past, but just wasn't the right time, and then wasn't the right situation. You know, this is, Bill, you know me as well as anybody, is that we have to be in position to go win a game. And I believe this is the place.
Thanks, Urban.
Thank you, Bill. We're going to go to Cassidy Hill with the Maven.
Hey, Urban, welcome. From your opinion, how much is the head coach role scheme versus being a CEO?
Well, I think it's in college you would add recruiting, in NFL I would add personnel. So it's hard to say which one's more important. You know, I'm not going to be the play caller. I've been very active in play calling throughout my career because on offense and kicking game, on defense I'm not. You know, I want to hire the best defensive coaches. I think something I've I've done halfway decent as I know what it's supposed to look like and feel like and the fundamentals, but schematically the NFL is different. There's the one thing about offensive football, you find weaknesses. The difference in the NFL, they're all the best players in America, so it's hard to find those weaknesses. So to answer your question, I see you can't put one above the other. The minute, I'm the guru or the person that's an exceptional coach that doesn't put, or exceptional strategy person that doesn't put emphasis on culture, leadership, talent acquisition, they usually fail, because that strategy is a big part of who you have doing it, but then there's also people that will actually win games because of strategy. So it's hard to say which one's more important.
And then just a real quick one building off that. Have you put any thought yet into retaining some of the coaches that are still on staff, or what will that process look like?
That's what's going on right now. I'm going through, this is a deep, deep dive into this. And I know all coaches say that. This will be, the next week will be essential, will be a critical time for the Jacksonville organization.
Let's go over to John Reed with the Florida Times-Union.
How you doing, Coach? First question, how long have you seriously considered making the jump to the NFL? And
10 years ago, I would say, I started getting some phone calls, and it made you wonder and it made you think. I've had some very good friends in the National Football League that I would sit down and have very confidential conversations with, coaches, even some GMs, about just what it's like. And then, the most important people are the players. And that didn't start until this past year, when probably around December, it was about a 6-month journey that I went on and had, very in-depth, detailed conversation with some of the players. So I've always considered it, always thought about it, but not until the last 12, probably 13 months now has it been because I just want to be educated. I spent a lot of time this year on the salary cap, understand roster management, and I just want to be very well educated into something that is obviously going to be critical to our success.
And just a follow up, there have been reports. Do you, as trying to create a winning franchise, and it goes beyond players, do you feel that you have to get the facilities updated at the stadium, or what are some of the other parameters that make us successful, that you feel that you got to have to be successful?
Well, I believe everything is. There's a one way that people who work for me, with me, they'll hear a statement that, is this the best of the best? And if it's not, then the question is, well, why? And that's the same thing I'm doing on every time I walk through everywhere. We did that at Ohio State. We did that at Florida. Is this the very best? And if it's not, then especially when you start talking about player welfare and safety, and then just the players. And if it's not the very best, let's have a chat and do what's very best. Because, the Jacksonville players are going to get pushed. They're going to get pushed. In return, we give them the very best. That includes the coaching staff. Number one, the coaching staff. Does a big hot tub much different than a small, have that much of a difference? I didn't say that, but I just want to make sure it's the best of the best. And Shad is very committed to that, as well as this organization. But that's something that it's hard for me to answer right now, but I think within months you might see or hear things that we're doing the very best we can for our players.
Thank you and congratulations, Coach.
Thank you, John. Let's go over to Michelle Steele with ESPN.
Hey, Coach, congratulations. Really exciting week, and definitely appreciate the time. I wanted to follow up on the health question. You mentioned it was something to watch very closely. Can you just share what might have changed about your health situation that made you feel confident in your ability to get back on the sidelines and take this job?
Not too much to share, to be honest with you. I've experienced, it's well documented what happened in whatever year was 14, and then 17 and 18. And, preventative, I'm very curious about the preventative, and that's what I've looked into in great detail. And I'm talking about the headache issues that I've dealt with. That's something that I'm going to watch closely. And I've had detailed conversations with people that helped me through that, the physicians that are very close to me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Let's go over to John Ogier with Jaguars.com.
Urban, thanks for doing this. First of all, you obviously study everything before you take a situation. How much study have you done with the Jaguars roster? How much more is there to do on that? And what do you think?
I've done a lot of research on several rosters throughout the season, and really more than the Jaguars, just the NFL in general. So it'd be hard for me right now to give you an assessment that'd be fair to the most important people, the players. That's ongoing. This situation only materialized recently, so I have not had a chance to do that. As we speak, I'm trying to discipline my time right now, and I'm finding out most of my time is on staff. And so it's at the right time. A bunch of players have reached out. I've had great conversations with some of them already. I look forward to talking to as many as I can, but the focus right now is on that staff.
All right, thank you. Let's go over to Cole Pepper with WJXT.
Thanks, Amanda. Urban, you've been talking about the time you're spending putting together the staff. What are the skills or traits that you're looking for in assistant coaches? What's important to you? And then how much is NFL experience important for you in finding your assistants? And then for Shad, if you could just refer back to how important that conversation you had with Urban at the Super Bowl has been, looking back on it. How big a part of this process was that, even though you weren't necessarily looking for a coach at that time?
I think, for me, Cole, I was really impressed, obviously, as Urban said. I watched him coach Ohio State against Illinois many, many times, and I've admired him for a long time from a distance. But the Super Bowl conversation, was very insightful. The analysis he had done on winning organizations in the NFL and even college organizations. So, and really then, last Monday when the opportunity came, he was one of the people I kind of reached out. And, I think the more important thing was, I think it's been addressed, his health, but really the commitment, the fire in the belly. I mean, he's achieved a lot, on college coaching, and, I'm sensitive to, the legacy he has, and this is a, very different challenge. So, I was just absolutely blown away that, how really how he can help us and really reinvigorate, the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I'm obviously delighted he's here today.
All right, thank you. Let's go over to Mia O'Brien with First Coast News.
Hi, Urban. Mia O'Brien. Pleasure to meet you. Obviously, family is very critical to you. It was a reason, I know, when you left previous stops, that came into consideration. I'm just curious what the conversations have been like with the family over these last few weeks.
We had a Zoom call the other day. We've had deep conversation, and they're all in. They're all got their Jaguar T-shirts in, and so, they're all grown now. So that's the biggest difference. Is that's to me that's a huge difference. That when you're not missing as much. The difference is I got 2 grandkids that I plan to shuttle them back and forth as much as I can, because that's very important to me. But the better part of my marriage is that's essential. So they're all in, and they're all Duval now.
All right, thank you, Mia. We've got we've got time for one more. We're going to go to Vic Michelucci with WJXT.
Welcome back, and go Gators, Urban Meyer. It's we're back again. Tell me, for the fan base, a Jaguars fan base that has, to some degree, fallen off, lost their support because of losing seasons, because of all these changes in the roster. How do you win them back? How do you earn them back in the stadium?
Well, I think it has something to do with, I'm not sure I said this earlier, but I talked to Shad about this, and it might be a little high schoolish, I get that. But when they see the Jaguar emblem, you better have ownership and you better love it. And if not, it's my job to eliminate those people from this organization. And I take that very serious. I've taken that when I was a Florida Gator coach. When you talk about the Gator Head, we if you go back in memory lane, I actually took it away from the player and staff. You don't always blame the players. I hear that, and you guys know that. I don't blame players. I blame coaches before players. But, just when you see that Jaguar emblem, we've done a good job in several years. If this city of Jacksonville, when they see that Jaguar emblem, there's a sense of pride and let's go, man. Let's go. That's I can see a fast team. I see people that care deeply about that organization. And the two things I always talk about that inspire, are part of inspiration, are love and ownership. I want you to own it. And if you don't want to do that, you really can't be here. And own that emblem.
And for Mr. Kahn, what about those who have concerns about the longevity of the franchise as well as the staff here?
Well, I think, actions speak louder than words. Okay. I think, now I've been there 9 years. We've not won, but we've done, it's not because of lack of effort. And I think where we are today, I think, it's positioning us to win in the future. That's what everyone wants. We've got a great game day experience. I think we got a great fan base. We need to deliver winning.
All right. Thank you, Shad. And thank you, Urban, for taking time today. And to all the media, we appreciate your time. We're sorry we can't get to every question, but we'll have more for you soon. Thanks so much and take care.
Thank you.
Draft Urban, draft Pitts, go Jags.
Thank you.
Jags!